Hello, everyone. This is Jim, and for this week 7 Wimba presentation, I'd like to go over some things to help you out with your application assignment this week, which is actually doing some customizing of the Fengwa database for this week. And this week will be customizing reports. You need to do at least 3 customizations to the report you worked on previously. And so I'll go back into my database and show you some things you can do as you create a report. And a lot of times this would be easiest to actually create the report in Design View and then kind of take it from there and doing some customizing of your report. So here I've got my orders table that I've got created, and you can see I've got basically 4 records in this table for my bike store. And so I'm going to go ahead and create a report off this table and go through some of the things you can do to kind of customize your report, make it look a little nicer, that kind of thing. So I'll do first go my Create tab, and I'm going to come over here to Reports, and this is going to go right to Blank Report, and then I'm going to pop into Design View and kind of start working on my report from that point. So right now I'm in Layout View, so I'm going to go into Design View. And again, Design View is always the best view because it gives you the most ability to really put things where you want to and create that kind of customization that you want for your report. All right, so having said that, I am going to go ahead and create this report for my orders table. And what I'll do, first of all, I'm going to put in some of the fields I want. And initially, as you come in, you'll see your reports in Design View separated by a page header section. So page header, something that occurs on top of each page. The details section, this is where the details or the information based on the records is going to be showing up on your report. So based on how many records you got, you'll have multiple pages with the details section on each one. The page footer section, so it'll be in the bottom of each page. So if you put different controls in these sections, they'll show up either on the top of the page, bottom, or in the middle of the page in the details area. If you go ahead and right-click on one of these bars, you can actually add in another section to this report, would be the report header and footer. So report header is only going to occur on the top part of the first page of the report, and likewise report footer will occur just on the bottom portion of the last page of the report. So if you got maybe some specific thing you want to put there on the top of the report in the first page, maybe like a company logo, that could be a good place to go ahead and put that logo image being in the report header section. So I'll go ahead and activate that. I may not necessarily use it for what I'm doing here, but just want to show you how you can go ahead and put that in. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in some of these fields into my report. So I got order ID, customer ID, part, and cost. And one thing might be nice is as I bring in these controls, just like with my form last week, I bring in the actual text box control that'll show the information and then the associated label. And so one way you can arrange your reports would be to go ahead and put your labels up in the page header section on each page of a report, and then you can line up the actual text boxes underneath each label so you can have kind of a columnar setup on your report. And that's kind of just one way you can kind of approach this. So what I'm going to do is I will go ahead and I'm going to create a little more space in my page header section. So by getting to the top portion of one of these bars that separate the sections of my report, I can actually create a little more space in each of these sections as you need to. So you should get familiar with manipulating the size of your details area, page footer area, etc. as you're working in reports. So I can basically cut and I'll paste these labels up in the page header section. So I'm just doing a cut and I'll do a paste. And that kind of came on top of the other one, so I'm just going to separate that out a little bit. A couple more I'll put in there. Oops. And again, you want to get familiar with, sometimes, again, when you do this, these controls pop in on top of each other. So you need to kind of see where that orange outline is of the label and then act accordingly. All right, so now I can go ahead and line these up a little bit. So I'm going to do that. So these are going to be at the top of each page, these labels. And then I'll put these text boxes underneath the associated label that it basically belongs to. And I can probably shrink these up a little bit as needed to get them to kind of fit a little better, or space these out a little bit too. I can put these labels out a little farther out in the page header section. All right, so I've got my controls essentially lined up underneath my labels. And like I said, you can always kind of go back and forth between report view and design view as you're kind of looking to see how things are set up on your report. I'll show up this section a little bit more. So one thing that might be nice would be to go ahead and in my report footer section actually put in like a control that would show the actual cost or amount of all the parts that have been ordered off my orders table. So a way to do that would be to put in an onbound control and then put in an expression that will actually go ahead and give me like a total for the number of parts that have been ordered from me. So to do that, I would put in an actual text box. So I'm going to click on my text box control, and I will just put this down here in the report footer area. And you can see this comes in as an onbound control. So that means it's not really connected to any field in my table. So in here, I'm going to right click. I'm going to properties. And here for the caption, I'm going to put down like cost of parts or total of parts, something like that. So I did it this way, just kind of give you an idea that as you work with all these controls, if you right click on a control, you can always get into the actual properties, and they'll pop up over here on the right hand side. Just like that. So an easy process to do as you're working with this. So, all right. Now the other thing I'm going to do then is I'm going to put in an expression in this text box that will go ahead and add up the cost of those parts I've got from my table. So the way I do this, similar to an Excel, is I'll put in an equal sign. I will say sum, and then I need to use a curved parentheses. Whoops, wrong one. And then a square bracket, and then I'm going to use a actual function, or actually not a function, but actually the field I'm going to be adding up or summing up, which will be the cost. So I'll put in costs, square bracket around that, and then a curved bracket around that. So this is the way you need to use functions in Access. Using the function sum, then it's going to be a curved parentheses, and then you got to put a square bracket around the actual field name that you're using that function against. So in this case, the cost field. So I'll click outside of that. Now another thing I want to do is actually go ahead and maybe format this so I can actually see dollars around it. So dollars and cents formatting. So again, I'm going to right click on this. I'll go to properties. Oops. I already had that open up, I think. So I'll bring it back. And so format. Come over here, and I'm going to choose currency like that. And also while I'm doing that, I might as well come up to the cost text box and do the same thing. All right, and that's already currency, so I'm good with that. So at this juncture, what I will do is one last thing is I will go ahead and put in a little control that I put in my page numbers. So it might be going to be nice to have page numbers at the bottom of each page. So up here in my controls area, I've got a page number button I can click on. And so I get different options here. I can go like page 1 or page 2, or I could say like page 2 of 5, 3 of 5, etc. So I want to put this in the bottom of the page, in the footer, or the top of the page header. So that'd be typically you're probably going to most likely put in the bottom of the page in the page footer area. Alignment you can control, and do you want to show us on the first page or not? So I'll leave it at center aligned and just hit OK. And you can see that I have this page control put in, so it's automatically put in for me. I'm going to shore up this little area somewhat on mine. And the last thing I might do is maybe put a line up here in the page header section, underlining underneath the labels I've got for my report on the page header area. So up here, I've got a line control. I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to put it in my line. And so you can see that line right there. And if you want, I can go to properties of that line and actually, if I want to, I can change the style. I can change the thickness of it. So I've got a lot of different options there that I can deal with as I work with my line. I can change the color. So border width. Right now it's not a very thick line. Maybe I'll make it a little thicker. So I'll make it 3-point. So I got a nice thick line in there now underneath my labels. I need to adjust this part one up a little bit. All right, so now I'm going to save this report and take a look in actual print preview mode, see how it's looking. So I'll save it. I'm just going to call it report 1. And I'll go into view. So here's how my report's looking at this juncture. So I got my labels up here. I've got my actual detail information for the part, customer ID, etc. Here's my label for total of parts, my total costs for my parts I've got on that small table. So you can see I can maybe make some more modifications on this report, certainly. I might go back into design view. And I think would probably like to extend this line out farther. Something like that, maybe. So again, a lot of different options you can do with reports, and you got a lot of different controls that are available to you. So go ahead for this week. Make sure you get familiar with adding controls, especially in design view. It's where you get the most advantage and easiest way to make changes to your reports and to modify them in a way that looks good to you. And the more you work with this, the easier it becomes. So feel free to definitely take your time on this and have fun with it. I think designing reports and forms and going to design view is really kind of where you get a little more of the artistic element and Access, where Access tends to be more the right brain type of thinking, linear, math-based, etc. So have fun this week. If you have any questions, please contact me, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks.